everyone to Perched on the Top Shelf. I am the Perched correspondent, Justin. You may notice his absence, but Lee Walker is not here this week. Unfortunately, he will be back next week, and all the best to him with, some certain things going on. But today I do have a very familiar guest, if you're familiar with the Perched on the Top Shelf series. We have custom Hasbro maker, Chris Phantom. Chris, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm good, man. We started this last week, myself and Lee, talking about the WWF Hasbros, and I know you have a very big appreciation for the line as well, so I'm
Absolutely, yeah.
excited to get a second opinion this week.
Yeah, and that was a great episode last week. I really enjoyed listening to that.
Oh,
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be here. Again, condolences to Lee and thoughts with his family and everything. So, happy to be here. Happy to be talking about these awesome tag teams this week. So, yeah, I'm excited.
yeah, and you heard it from Chris. So to this week, we are going to be talking about the tag teams, the two packs of the Hasbro line, since they pretty much followed Series 1 in between Series 2. Now, the rule with this we're going by is if it's two figures on the card, that I consider a two-pack. So you're not going to see your Earthquake and Typhoon, your natural disasters. You're not going to see the Head Shrinkers. You're not going to see Steiner Brothers because they were single-card releases. I just think that's fair.
I agree, although I think it's unfair that they did that to us as fans and collectors back in the day.
Right,
Right.
right.
They would have been great
with you
looking.
on that.
It would have been amazing looking cards, man.
But yeah, let's get right into it. So to start, let's talk about the Rockers.
The
We have
Rockers.
Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, neon green tights with the they actually did the little zebra print on the boots too on both of them.
Yeah, it's a nice little something they did. Other than that, they're pretty plain figures. Both jumpers, just weird. I don't like, and they did the same thing with the head shrinkers. I don't like having a tag team with both of them having the same action at all. But
Right.
the jumpers are terrible to begin with, so yeah, then you get two of them. But I was thinking about this earlier on, and the Rockers I think are the best worst, not the worst best tag team. They're very plain. The figures aren't great, but they're iconic. Like if you see those, everybody had those. Everybody's got the Rockers in their collection. As a matter of fact, if you're in the area, it's a rule that you must have at least one loose Marty. So, um, yeah, it's just it was. I felt like everybody had them, and they were pretty plain Jane, but you wouldn't want to have your collection without them.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And
I give him like a 4.7 out of 10.
4.7. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, like you said, they are pretty plain, solid colors. The zebra print on the boots is a nice touch that they didn't have to
It
add.
is.
They
It's a
did
cool
add it.
effect. Yeah.
And they did actually mold on the purple belts too around their waist.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. They didn't like use another jumper top for that. That was definitely a cool little touch as well. They're not terrible figures, and the card is amazing. I don't know if you've got it. I'm not a mock collector myself, but
Neither am I. So
yeah, it's a great looking card. I just the Rockers are what they are. They're good figures. They're iconic for sure. I think of them when I think Hasbro figures in the same sense that I think of the Series 1 Macho Man or anything else like that. So, they're great. They're just not, I would say that they're the lowest of the tag teams.
yeah, definitely. And as we said, they are jumpers, both of them. They are two different styles of jumpers. So if you see, Sean has the little
Yeah,
lever on the back, and you kind of press down on the shoulders there. And mine's kind of stiff, actually. Jesus Christ.
well, that's good.
Um, and then Marty is just like full, all the way down to the knees.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't notice that until you held yours up, and I was like, wait, and I looked down.
Honestly, I didn't think about it till I was like holding him in my hands just now.
Well, you know what I'm thinking right now. Instead of having to Dremel off that back piece, I'll just start using Marty's.
Yeah, but Sean and Marty, like I said, it's cool to have the Rockers. I mean, you have to have them in this
You
set.
have to have them. Exactly. I think
Yeah,
that's the best way to describe them. If nothing else, you got to give them that much credit. You have to have them in your collection. For
definitely.
sure.
And when it comes to Sean and Marty, we get much better Hasbros of them later down the line. So
Absolutely, yeah.
this
But
isn't the only chance.
I know I for one, and probably our buddy Lee and a lot of other kids my age were using our imaginations and recreating that barbershop scene with these two figures a lot. So
Oh yeah.
that was before we got the white pants Sean and all that. So
Oh,
they weren't without their fun, and like I said, they look good on display if you remember them well. And they're cool figures. I like them. They get a
yeah.
lot of hate. I just gave them a lot of hate, but at the end of the day, they are iconic Hasbros.
Yeah, like you said, they are absolutely iconic, and you see that a lot in the fucking Hasbro line and the designs of the figures and everything. Like you know when you look at that figure how iconic it is.
I mean,
Like
if nothing else, it's HBK's first WWF figure. You know what I mean? So
right,
that's a cool stat right there.
right.
So yeah, I mean they're cool. I mean, and I think they're the first tag team set that I owned. I'm pretty sure. I remember getting them for Christmas in 1992. That was a big Hasbro Christmas for me. But I do remember getting that package and opening it. Like I said, it was a great looking card. Um, and they were figures you wanted to have. It was a cool set to have.
Definitely. And let's move it on to the other tag team in the set. We have Butch and Luke, the Bushwackers.
I'm very partial to these guys. I remember getting them as well. Now I was trying to remember this earlier. I don't remember when. It was probably another Christmas or a birthday or something like that. I don't remember it as well as I remember the Rockers opening those up. But I do remember getting the tag team set of these guys, and I loved them as a kid. I went to a couple house shows at MacArthur Stadium in Syracuse in '92 and '93, and at one of those two shows, the Bushwhackers grabbed me and my friend Mike, and he got his face licked. I fortunately just got a high five, so I got out of that one pretty easy. But it was cool. I was a young kid, had 8 years old, having an interaction with wrestlers, so I was always a fan of the Bushwhackers, um, and I liked the figures. I thought they were cool. Now, I will admit, I think that the single pack ones that came along down the line were a little bit nicer looking on display. They have the hat accessory that's cool, but I love this black and white scheme with the gray pants. I just think they look great. They're really nice looking figures.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of lean towards these a bit more because like I look at you look at the gray, the black, the white camo, like that's the Bushwhackers.
And
Like
I
that's what I
agree with
think about.
I agree with that. That was really the main ring gear they were wearing when I was that age and first starting to watch wrestling. So I agree with that as far as like the look of it, just like kind of catching your eye and being like that's them. More so than the other ones. I mean, like I said, those other ones are beautiful. The tan ones, I think they're great looking figures and having the accessories cool. But I I think that the two pack, the team pack is, you know, arguably the better set. If these had accessories, I don't think it would be any question that these were the better set.
Oh yeah. And we talked about the Rockers, they had the same action with the jumper. These two have completely different actions.
Yep.
So you move I want to say this is Luke.
I have
Please
no idea,
if I'm
man.
wrong, somebody I'm sorry. I'm
No
trying.
clue.
But you kind of move his arm up and he does a little kick.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, I think that was used with the second $1 million man. I don't remember a lot of other figures using that, but I know they did reuse it a few times. But
Right.
it's a cool action because they don't. It's not like one of the main ones. You don't see it a lot, and it's not shitty like a jumper, but it's not like you just don't see it that often.
Yeah. And then I believe like I said, I believe this is Butch, but you can do the walk to the ring.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
I always wish that they would have just done them both the same way. Um, but yeah, that I love that. You know what I mean? Like how cool is that? And that was, I think this was a one off. I don't remember anybody else using
Yeah, I don't think so.
that action.
So definitely like very unique action. Obviously, Luke, it was used for the $1 million man in the green suit, so
Right.
that was
Yeah. No,
definitely
it's
used.
I always loved that. That was like super realistic. You can when you're a little kid, you're walking them down the aisle, so to speak, and getting to do that. It was very very cool that they did that. And I again, I don't think that was. I can't think of anybody they would have used that.
Yeah, just
Great faces on both of those figures.
awesome. Yeah, man. I honestly I gotta say these are And I really didn't have an opinion coming into this episode, but like the more I'm looking at them and the more I have them in hand and using the actions and everything,
Yeah,
these are just awesome fucking figures.
yeah, no, they're great, man. They really are. I did a custom set for our buddy Wes not long ago. He wanted like a tan kind of looking one, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this, but it actually turned out to be like a really fun project. I made another set of them and did like a blue that was kind of just for fun, and they're sitting up there in the back waiting for somebody to take them because I don't. I just made them for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're fun figures, man. They're really cool. I like the Bushwacker sets.
Yep. So there's the Bushwhackers, and then we're gonna move on to, think what you want about this. So we have Demolition, and got the helmets, came with the figures and everything. Here is Smash, who is a re-release of the single card series in Series 1. And we all know Demolition, the famous tag partner.
Now I love that.
That's not X.
I love that Crush figure so much.
It is a cool figure. The paint is great on it.
The paint's great on it, but also like it's just another story of like me coming into being a wrestling fan right at that time. I was finding out about Demolition on the back end. So like I like these figures a lot. I like Demolition. I think they're cool. And it's not a matter of, Demolition wasn't that great or whatever. I'm 5 years too late. Demolition was dominating the mid to late 80s scene. I got into it in the very early 90s, 91, I want to say. So, like, they were still around. But Crush, that was the Demolition I knew. I didn't really know them so much. So, like, when they came out with a new Demolition set, because Series 1 was just like they did it later on,
Mm-hmm.
where they released each character, and, I didn't like that. When they came out with the set, it was just a great looking card. It was very difficult to find. Now that we've gotten past this back row here, we're getting into this front row that I got going on here. These three teams, these last three teams that we have to talk about, they were just very difficult for me to find. We have bad distribution. Where Lee and I are from in Oswego, it's a small place. And even if you drove to the mall in Syracuse, it was hit and miss. I never, well, wait, but I never found the Nasty Boys until I was about 2 years ago. I finally got a set of those. So, Demolition was just super tough to find, and they had this super cool entrance hoods that they didn't have earlier on. So, I would have loved to have seen a 3-pack released. They for a while there had the Freebird rule going as
Right.
tag champs, and I would have loved to have seen a one-off 3-pack released. Those would be worth $1 million these days. But I loved the Demolition set. I really did. It was a cool release.
Yeah, just awesome. And then, I kind of just realized this too, and it's odd that I didn't really pick up on this last week when we were talking about Series 1. But you have the unique molding on the torso with the straps and everything. It's
Yeah,
not like just painted
yeah.
on.
No, that couldn't have been used. A lot of people use that to customize Bastion Booger because
Ooh, that's a good one.
but I mean, other than that, there's really not much you do. Also, let me grab something real quick. I
Yeah,
don't need to correct you. For anybody who doesn't have the Hasbro yet, you should get the Hasbro. But I do believe that 2-pack. Let me read here. I do believe that 2-pack tag team Smash has different paint.
does he?
Okay, so let me see here. Series 2 Smash has darker red face paint when compared to the lighter red face paint of Series 1. So
Oh,
it isn't actually a full re-release. They did do a different, just a lighter shade of red.
oh shit. Okay. I honestly
Yeah.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, it's I wouldn't have it without that book. So like I said, Hasbro, go grab one of those. Cool
Now I'm
shit.
gonna sit here staring at all my smashes, looking at the red on the paint after this.
Yeah, no, dude, I did the same thing because I had a bag full of like old beaters, and I was like, hold on. I was trying to see if it was true or not. From the book, it looks pretty, like indiscernible. But yeah, no, that's a thing.
Yeah, and before we move on from Demolition, let me ask you a question. I asked Lee about this last week.
Yeah,
What the fuck is up with that elbow pad on Smash being all the way up on his bicep?
never noticed that, but that's hilarious.
Like, look at
Smash
that.
Smash is a great looking figure, considering like how goofy and goony he always was. If you ever watch an old promo with Smash, like while Axe is talking, he just looks into the microphone and keeps going.
Right.
He's just making goofball faces all the time, like he's playing with a baby or something. It's like, dude, just chill, like look mean or something. Like you got the face paint on and you're doing that shit. You literally look like a clown, and then you want me to think you're tough in 30 seconds. It's not working out. So
Right.
like that was another reason I liked Crush for Demolition, but Crush was always terrible on the mic too.
Yeah. And you know what? While I have it in my head, we didn't even bring up the action. So Smash kind of does have the actual Smash. My action's broken, unfortunately, on this one, but nope, it's working. There he is.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yep.
I got it in reverse. It
Yeah,
goes up.
that's kind of how mine is. I gotta like rotate it back. And then Crush, obviously he has the pivot at the elbow, and then he has
I
the
love that
action.
that action, that elbow pivot. I like the double elbow pivot though, the Texas Tornado style.
Right.
I like those ones even more. Playability wise, they were just great figures.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would say those and the Mr. Perfect body style were the best as far as playability was concerned.
Yeah, easily. Not the Rick Rude, Ric Flair body.
Now, all right, listen. I get into this a lot with people. I'm not kidding. I get into this a lot with people. Hear me out. If that action were put on a full size, like badass looking figure, and not the little twerp figure bodies that they put it on, that would be a cool ass action. The headlock, the band, band. It's an awesome action. It's a great action. Everybody disses the action. What you really mean is that you don't like the bodies, and that's fine. They put them on little dinky, twerpy, skinny little bodies. I'm supposed to believe that's Ric Flair. Maybe 1, 2, 3 Kid, but
One,
Rick,
two, three kid was the only one it worked for, I thought.
right, right, that was fine. But Rick Rude was ripped up, and then Flair was like, "Come on, man, you're not telling me that's Rick Rude and Ric Flair. Like, you guys, come on."
Right.
But the action is not to blame here, and everybody always goes, "Oh, that action sucks." No, it doesn't. The action is amazing. If they made it, listen, man, if they would have made a Hogan or a Macho or a Warrior, anybody with that action, everybody would have loved it. I promise you.
Well, you
You got to
know,
be fired up. It's a great action.
maybe with the WB Retro line, they'll try and recreate that action, and we'll get a Hogan or a Warrior.
You should have known when I said now listen and sat back. You should have known I was about to sound off. Listen, I'm telling you though, I'm not kidding. I love that action. I think it's great.
Oh man. But so we have the Rockers, we have the Bushwhackers, we have Demolition. But let's talk about a team that was supposed to be released with those teams,
Yeah,
but unfortunately never was.
right.
So I believe it was in the Toys R Us ad around this time.
I think so.
We saw, the Ring, we saw the Rockers, we saw the Bushwhackers, we saw Demolition, and there was another team on the outside of the ring, and it was the Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine, Rhythm and Blues.
I'm gonna find it for you right now.
Yeah. But for some reason, and I don't know, like I said, maybe my timeline's a little messed up. Maybe the team had broken up by the time it was time for these figures to come out. But
That
we
is
never saw
correct.
that Greg.
That is what happened.
Yeah,
The team had broken up. There we go. I've got it right here. Try to get up here close.
here we go. Yep, there it is. You can see it clear as day right there.
Once again, shout out to the Hasbro. Get you one.
And of course, that Greg is front and center in the ad.
Yeah, no, it's a great looking figure. Never came out. There was one prototype that I think Cardona's got
Yep.
maybe like 15 grand for or something like that. But as a customizer, it's a very popular one to have requested, and it's a very popular one to see made. And so I made myself one. I'll get up there, see how close I can get, but got myself a little
Yeah, that looks.
custom prototype to set up on the shelf. This was a fun one to make. It was pretty easy. It's a 3D cast by Dave Calloway, who we talked about last time I was on the show with you. He can make just about anybody for you. So I got the cast from him, quick paint job, and it sits pretty up on the shelf. It looks really nice with the other figures,
Yeah.
especially if you know the story behind it. You know, when other customers, not customers, when other collectors go over and see, like, that one always kind of grabs their eye.
Yeah. And that figure, the chances of us seeing it aren't dead, because I believe it's Cella Toys are coming out with that Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine
Dude, listen,
in a
Shallow
Hasbro
Toys,
style
Shallow
figure.
Toys is on fire. I know that this is, you know, Zombie Sailor is a polarizing situation, and feel how you want to feel about them, but those figures are amazing.
Yep.
And have you seen the newest drop by Zombie Sailor?
So
Jack
I
Tunney?
still need to pre-order though. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
The Jack Tunney.
Oh, the Jack Tunney. Yes, I did see that. Yep.
That's coming out next year. Now, I haven't bought any Zombie Sailor figures yet. I think that they're amazing. I think that the quality of them is outstanding, and people complain about the price. It's $40 for a figure. It's like, dude, that's a really fair price for those.
Yeah.
I think it's a very fair price for those. I just haven't happened to buy any yet. That Tawny for sure will be one that's
Oh,
coming.
absolutely. Jack Tunney
And
is a must cop.
there's another one that I want really bad by him, but I won't bring it up with you, Justin, because I know you don't like him.
Oh, oh, fuck you. You know what?
What? What?
I know
I
what you're
didn't
gonna
say
say.
anything. Come on, Justin Hausen.
Oh man. But not even just that. So I believe in January, WB and Mattel are releasing their next series of retros. And one of the figures in that series is Rhythm and Blues Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Right. Yeah, I saw
So
that.
we will
Yeah.
see it.
I haven't, and that's another thing. I haven't gotten into collecting retros mainly because I, I just it's this. These are enough, the Hasbros and the customs on top of it all. I don't have the room for them. I don't have the space for everything I have right now. But they're a hell of a lot cheaper to collect than the Hasbros are. That's for sure.
Right.
But these new ones that are coming out, man, they really got me tempted. They really do. These new ones have been really cool. I wasn't a big fan of the Heart Foundation ones, but the I don't remember who was it, the Cowboy Bob Orton and Mean
Right.
Gene.
Yeah.
That series was great. I mean, this new series is something that you want to have, but this next series looks really, really.
And me and Lee did talk about that most recent series on the show as well. I am glad that they're digging deeper into the manager, kind of
Yeah, yeah,
with those retros. So we got a Gene Okerlund, a Jimmy Hart.
right. It would have
I
been cool to see.
really want a Bobby Heenan no matter what.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
just absolutely needed.
It would have been cool to see Hasbro kind of to do something like that. A Miss Elizabeth Hasbro figure, you know what I mean? Something like that. It would have been really cool. Or Bobby Heenan.
Yeah,
There could have been a Jimmy Hart. There could have been a lot of things. So I think the Hasbro kind of dropped the ball there. They missed an opportunity to sell some figures, but you know they
yeah,
did
it's
okay.
crazy.
We're still talking about them 30 years later.
It's crazy that we still even haven't even had a. And I say this because you brought up Miss Elizabeth, but a female Hasbro. We've never seen it.
Never happened. Yeah, no, it never happened. Somebody, man, I wish I knew who it was because I'm in the groups. Man, I hope this guy doesn't watch this because then he's gonna think I'm a dick. This dude made a China Hasbro with it looked like a Papa Shango body. It was spot on. I mean,
Wow.
he did an amazing job. Yeah, like the face mold was great. He put boobs on her somehow. Like I don't know. I mean, I know he used clay, but like that's a just thinking about trying to do that job. It doesn't seem easy.
Right.
He did. It was an awesome looking China man. He did an awesome job on that.
Yeah. You know, I know you're in the custom game. We talked about that, but
Yeah.
some of the shit you guys come up with is fucking incredible.
No. Some them. I just repaint. I repaint stuff and do silly things like make big hats on my friends.
And we talked about Rhythm and Blues, but here's the honky. It ended up being released as a single carded figure.
I love that figure so much.
Yeah, great. Like that's fucking honky tonk, man. Like when you think of honky tonk, man, there he
That
is.
is that is Hasbro. That is WWF Hasbro figure. That is childhood. That is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just such a great figure. that immediately makes me think of the Tresetter's house, being across the street playing. I think the older brother had that figure with the guitar. Man, that is just an awesome, awesome figure.
And I usually pose him kind of holding the guitar like that, but if you wanted to flip it, you can do the guitar smash. And my
Yeah.
guitar just fell out of his hand, but yeah, but that's Rhythm and Blues, what could have been. Like I said, we'll get an incarnation of that Greg Valentine at some point. But unfortunately, we never got to see it in the official WWF Hasbro line.
Right. Yeah.
We did get a Greg later on. It was normal Greg, normal blonde, black.
That's actually a good figure. That's a pretty good figure. A lot of people don't know that, like, if you look close on the trunks, it says Greg in cursive writing. It's just like molded onto the trunks and they didn't paint it. And you got to look really close, but they like,
Seriously?
yeah, it's a, yeah. I'm dead, dude. I'm dead serious. Yeah.
Bro, I'm gonna have to go fucking like inspect.
I
My
know. I just messed up your whole life. No,
You're fucking with my head right now, Chris.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that until I got mine. But yeah, it says, it's got the hammer on the back is painted on to the back of the trunks. But if you look close, I think it's on the upper right of the trunks. It says just Greg.
Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna have to look at that. So
Yeah,
my night's gonna be occupied thanks to you. But you know what? Let's talk about, your favorite team, I believe you said in this Hasbro line.
So that's tough to say. What we're gonna do is we're gonna call these 1A and 1B or 1A and 1B. These are the two.
I absolutely agree with you.
These are the two best. Okay, it doesn't matter which one is the best. These are the two best tag teams.
110%. I'm with you on that.
I also want to go back to something you said earlier. You mentioned it being one of the only cool versions of something. I don't remember exactly what you said, but this Hawk is, in my opinion, the only acceptable jumper because it looks great, and B, it gave you the ability to do the Doomsday device.
Right, the Doomsday device.
So playability wise, I loved it. I thought that it was okay to be a jumper. I don't like jumpers. Nobody likes jumpers, but that was the one. And then the face paint on Animal is just incredible. A lot of people complain about the shoulder pads. They're molded on, so it ruined playability. Man, not for me. I thought these were honestly standalone. I think that they're two of the best figures in the line, but as a tag team, maybe the best one that they put out. I have a very fond memory of being at a Hills department store. I'm aging the shit out of myself right now with this story, but I was at a Hills department store with my mom and my Aunt Cheryl, and they kind of let me wander off because it was okay to do back then. And I found the tag team said LOD, and I was like, no fucking way. No way. Because, like I said earlier, terrible distribution around here. We happen to be half an hour away at some random store, and I find these things. And the Nasty Boys were just, that was the holy grail. We could never find them. We pretty much gave up. When I say we, I mean my best friend who lived across the street from me. We collected together. We pretty much had given up on it. So when I found these guys, I was not leaving the store without them. I begged, pleaded, I did everything I needed to do. I'm pretty sure I signed myself up for a month worth of chores. But I came home with that LOD on card that night, and it was like our second place. It was our consolation prize when I got him home and got to show my best friend Mike, hey man, we got these at least. So I love those figures. I think they're great. I don't mind the shoulder pads being molded on, especially now, because these things are for display now. At 38 years old, they're to look cool. Right. It's not, we're not playing with them. So I remember as a kid being like, thinking about it a little bit, but it never really bothered me that much. It certainly doesn't now. I think that they pop on a shelf a lot better because of the pads. And difficult thing now is to find the pads with spikes in good shape. So I'm fortunate to have some really nice spikes here. And just real quick before I'll let you get into LOD here, this figure, this is the Animal from that package 30 years ago. So this got lost at my buddy Mike's house, and his parents decided to sell about a year and a half ago. And he went down to the basement and pulled up a box of figures. And I mean, we knew who owned what. That was mine from 30 years ago. So all I had to do was find a hawk. But really, really cool. Side note that is the very same animal that I've had forever. So, well, that I had it as a child and lost for a while there. But yeah, I love these figures. LOD's right up there with the Nasties as far as I'm concerned as being the best tag team set.
Okay, Chris. So you just talked about him. Here we have Hawk and Animal, Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, whichever you prefer. Honestly, like, look at these, just awesome. Same with Demolition. The paint looks great. I'll take a closer look at Animal. You got the yellow in there, the black goes great with the red shoulder pads and the red boots and everything. Just pops. It's awesome.
Incredible.
And then Hawk, you have the screaming head with the paint. He has the hawk or the mohawk, reverse mohawk, whatever you want to call it. But he has that. Animal has the mohawk. And you were talking about you don't mind the shoulder pads that much. I don't either. It would have been nice if they could have been removable, but I know like it's a different time. It's the early 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Like
that's
that
my
one.
whole thing. It's like, dude, I think those came out in 92. Like, those are awesome figures for 1992. They're
Right.
awesome figures for 2022. If they came out right now, people would buy them. They'd still complain, but they'd buy them.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
Mattel needs to do. Mattel needs to do an LOD retro.
Me and Lee talked about that actually. So we were just
Oh,
like shooting the shit, brainstorming like who they could possibly do.
yeah.
I said, let's do LOD, but do them in the blue shoulder pads and the blue paint.
So listen, I think I'm like, right, yeah, they are. We got a couple more 3D prints from Callaway. And I'm going to do just that with these guys.
Awesome.
Haven't touched them yet, but
Wow.
that's what they look like when they get here. I mean, they're full body. They don't move or anything, but just full bodies ready to paint.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the black and blue WCW Road Warrior style.
Yeah, but I threw out the idea, you want to do the shoulder pads, do the blue shoulder pads for WCW and everything.
Yeah,
If you wanted to, you could do their original AWA look too. I think would be really cool.
yeah.
Either way you want to go, honestly.
I like that AWA that black with the chains and everything. It's cool as shit.
Right.
Like the cover of the WCW NES game. Like I think that would be a fun project to do too to paint that.
Absolutely. And Hawk is the jumper, like you said. It just works with the Doomsday device and everything,
It just works with Hawk. It's the one jumper that looks good.
which is interesting because he is a bigger guy. Like Hawk is no
Yeah,
small guy, so it's
yeah,
weird. Like it works with him as a jumper.
yeah. And I think they did him justice though. I don't think they made him look twerpy or anything like that
No, not at all.
with Flair. That's a strong looking character right there. But yeah, it's the one good jumper. I say that all the time, and I will always say that like that's the only one of the jumpers that came out the way that they wanted it to. I think
Yeah. And even like the more you examine the shoulder pads, like it has the straps on it, it has the spikes.
it's
All the little detail is there. Like,
extremely detailed.
and that's crazy for, I mean, how much, obviously, like these were at retail when I was still a twinkle in my mom's and
$10.
dad's.
Listen, no, I remember I paid $10 for the set.
Think about that, man. Like,
I mean, if you wanted to buy them on the card right now, I think the lowest you're getting them for is about 350. And I mean that's
yeah,
real low. If you can find them for that price, you should buy them.
right.
I think they normally go closer to $500 for the set now on a card. So it's to think that I paid $10 for them back in the day is insane.
And you said it too. Like finding these with the spikes that are intact, or at least most of them,
Yeah,
is almost an impossible task.
yeah. Like I said, I got really lucky. This one didn't take too much damage over the years, just being in a box in the basement. And then when I bought that one, I was just sure to buy one that was going to match up with it and look as nice. So I spent a little bit of money on it, maybe $50,
Yeah.
but everything was there, so it was worth the money.
Like it took me a long time to find ones that were in decent enough shape. Like even these ones here when I got them, like the tips of the spikes were kind of like chipped off. I
Yeah,
was able to just
yeah.
take like a small amount of paint,
I've got that.
got it.
I've got that going on a little bit with Animal, not Hawk. But I'm looking at one right now on the back of the show. I wouldn't have noticed if I didn't look for it, but yeah, the tips will break off, and some of the paint will wear off and stuff like that. But if they're all still there, or even if most of them are still there, they're incredible looking figures.
Yeah. And Animal, he has the press slam there, the power
Yep,
slam.
yep.
So
But that press slam, if you did it right, could hold some legs proper as a kid to get that Doomsday device executed. So
absolutely,
these
like
were these were
I'll,
playable
I'll
figures.
fucking hold him up just to show it. Like
Yeah, these were playable figures, regardless of what anybody will tell you.
easily, no doubt. And the detail on them, the paint, the
Yeah,
shoulder pads, even the straps on the boots too. When you hold them up, like they're all they went all out with these fucking figures, and they're awesome.
yeah, they really did a nice job with that set. And like I said, like that's why there's no. I can't say that they're better than Nasty Boys, but I can't say Nasty Boys are better than them either.
Yep. And speaking of Mr. Brian Knobs and Jerry Sags, we got them right here. The Nasty Boys.
So, Justin, let me tell you a story.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
When I was a boy collecting these figures with my dear friend Mike, who I've mentioned a few times, these were the ones. And I don't know if it was because we couldn't find them. I mean, they're awesome, awesome looking figures. But I think that it was the mystique. Like we knew they existed,
Mhm.
couldn't find them anywhere. It was just like Andre the Giant. Andre and these two figures, we just couldn't find them. And we knew they were out there. We would have paid money to go to somebody's house to look at them. It was we just couldn't we couldn't get them out of our heads, and it was a thing we asked for Christmas every year for like 3 or 4 years. Finally, we gave up, like I said earlier, and I was able to get these guys, but we just could not find these figures at all. And this was in the early '90s. There was no internet, there was no eBay, there was no way to find stuff. If you couldn't find it at the store, you were screwed. So we never did find them, unfortunately. And so when I started recollecting a few years ago, Nasty Boys were like at the top of my hit list. I wanted to get those first just to get them in my fucking hands.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And be like, all right, I own the Nasty Boys finally after 30 goddamn years, right? So I was able to get a nice set. I think I paid $60 for them, which blew my fucking mind apart. Like after all these years, it cost $60 to finally own them. Like Jesus Christ, and that was probably high because I started recollecting in the middle of COVID. So I
Same here.
probably I probably could have got these things for $30 two 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh
Or,
yeah.
well, Jesus, it's been that long now, but you know what I mean. 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, so finally getting them in my hand was really, really something special to me. It was just like this culmination of something that started so long ago and was now started back up and nowhere near finished. I think I had 20 figures when
Mhm.
I got the Nasty Boys. But that was the end of a story that started a long, long time ago. Finally getting these figures in my hand. Uh, it was worth the wait. They're incredible looking figures. I thought that they were much more detailed than they are because my 8-year-old brain had built them up to be, more than they were. But they still, even as they are just awesome looking figures. I'm really looking to customize a set. I want to do an orange set or something like that. But yeah, just these. Look at that. The all black, the graffiti, the beautiful Nasty Boys logo, and the glasses. And I also want to point out the face molds on both of these are so accurate and so great.
Oh yeah.
Like these are just to me, these are top 10 Hasbros. If I can make them one thing, I would put the Nasty Boys in the top 10.
Yeah. And like you guys are watching this on video and you've had photos of them online and everything, but I don't honestly, I feel like you have to have these in hand to like really do them justice and see how great they are.
And it's funny you say that. I brought when I got the Nasty Boys, I brought them down to my friend Mike's condo downtown, and I brought Andre with me too because he, like me, until I started recollecting, had never had an Andre or Nasty Boys in his hand. So I went down there to meet up with him. We were gonna go have some drinks, but I brought the figures with me to show him finally, right? So I said, "Hey man, I brought some friends with me. Hope you don't mind." And I showed him Andre, and he's like, "Oh shit, look at that! No kidding." And then I handed him the Nasty Boys, and the whole mood changed. It wasn't a "oh look at that." It like his face dropped, his voice changed a little bit, and the next thing out of his mouth was, "We fucking wanted these so much." I mean, it was like he really went back in time for a minute there. It was
Hey,
a really special moment to see, a kid that was with me the whole time trying to fucking find these things, like I did, finally have him in his hand and be like, but just to hear him say it like that, we fucking wanted these so much. As he's staring at him, it really told me the story of like how hard we really did look for him, and that I should be right to feel the way I felt when I got him. It was a long, long time. These figures mean a ton to me. I love them. I truly don't think they're better than LOD. I think the LOD is the best, but I'll never vote against the Nasty Boys when it comes to, like I said, it's a 1A and 1B situation, and I change my mind daily. So I absolutely love those figures. They're like the pride and joy of my collection, and I got some pretty cool shit. I have a 1, 2, 3 kid that I care less about than I do these Nasty Boys.
yeah, fuck that $500 loose 1 2 free kid. It's all about the
And
$60.
I was lucky to get that for 500. You know what's going for like 1,000 now on eBay?
Dude, I still need one, and it irks the hell out of me that I don't have one on my shelf.
I'll make you a custom one.
Shit. Yeah, I got to figure something out because
I'll
that's
make
just
you a
that's just
custom
one you
one.
need. You need the 1 2 free.
No, I mean I really will, but no, seriously, I stole that thing at 4.95.
Wow,
It was 4.95 shipped too. So like I was in and out for under $500 on a fucking nice looking 1, 2, 3 kit. But
crazy.
again, like I said, if the dog chewed up the kid or the Nasty Boys, I'd be like, fucking my Nasty Boys, dude, come on.
Oh man. Um yeah, but the story you told us, I love hearing shit like that, man.
Yeah,
Like
no, it was
that's what I
great.
love being this fucking collecting game for,
Yeah, yeah. It goes a little bit deeper than just adult nerds with too much money. Some of us have some really great memories. No, I'm saying that's all of us. That's
Right.
almost
I know, I
everybody.
agree with you.
That's like,
Um yeah, just it's fucking great, it's just a
yeah,
feeling of satisfaction. It's
yeah,
like when I do get, these men on card figures and I go to autograph signings and I get them signed, it's that
yeah. No,
long fucking road of like,
it's
having
a
that
cool thing.
figure.
I had a Kurt retro that I went with Lee and got signed, and it was a cool experience. I ended up donating it to a raffle that we had going on or something like that. I don't remember. I think it might have been our friend Eddie's dog actually had gotten sick, but in any event, I ended up giving it away. But I did have it for a little bit. It was a cool piece to have and to see, well, just look over at behind the figures, and it was a really cool experience. So yeah, that was a fun thing. Um, the autograph signing and all that shit. And I understand, it's like you get it, and you're waiting. So to see the Nasty Boys in his hand and get that reaction from him that we wanted these so fucking bad,
Yeah.
it
Makes it
was
all
it was almost as good as getting them in the mail that day and knowing that I had finally gotten them. So yeah.
right. It's great. That's awesome. But actually I'm gonna ask you about this. So I talked about this with the Macho Man in Series 1 with Lee last week. How do you feel about the molded wrist tape but not painted? Does it bother you? Is it
I'll be honest with you, man. Until I started recollecting a couple of years ago, I don't think I ever would have noticed that.
Mhm.
Um, the only reason I knew about the tape on Macho's hands was because I saw a custom green trunks Macho and the paint or the tape had been painted up, and I'm like, that looks fucking cool. Like
Right.
that really makes it pop. You know what I mean? So, um, I usually my answer is this: whenever I'm doing a custom for myself, I paint the tape. If
Right.
I'm doing it for somebody else, I ask them, do you want me to or not? Because some people don't. But like I think that all of the paint or the tape should have been painted. I think if it's on the figure,
Right. I
Hasbro
agree.
should have taken the time to paint it. And not to jump ahead to I think about 2 months down the road now we'll be talking about this one, but Ludwig Borga, do you know about this? He's got
Oh, oh
like
boy.
laces on his skin.
Yeah, yeah, he has the swastika. Yeah.
Terrible.
Oh man. Yeah. It, like you said, if the tape's molded there, like why not paint it?
Yeah,
It's
if you have something on the figure, paint. The
right.
only exception being that super cool hidden Greg on Valentine. Don't
Right.
forget to look for that. But yeah,
I'll look for
I
it.
think if you put it there, like look at LOD, they didn't leave anything that's there, not accentuated. They've got all this. These used to be black, and mine aren't anymore. But the ties, there's buttons.
Yeah.
Everything that is something is its own color and its own shape and its own texture.
Yeah, because like these patches and these ties, they easily could have left that red, and you would have been like,
Yeah,
okay, no problem. Like
yeah, it would have
that's
looked great, and nobody would have noticed.
yeah. But again, Nasty Boys, I'm with you on this, man. Like awesome, awesome, awesome fucking figures. Like these, they knocked it out of the park with these, with the shirts, the glasses, the heads look great on them.
Yeah, and the nasties.
Perfect.
I mean, you could say this for plenty of Hasbro's, but the nasties didn't really have that long of a WWF run to even
Right.
have figures come out. But they were there long enough to win the belts. I believe that was WrestleMania 7 against the Hart Foundation,
Hmm.
and I think they turned face after that. But yeah, they were there for a minute. They were there a lot longer than Giant Gonzalez and Skinner, so they definitely deserve Hasbro's. Man,
Definitely.
I don't collect MOC. These are that's a set that I will own eventually, and they have in a nice case because of the story I told you. I want to go back and really have them in my hands like I was
Right.
supposed to.
And you know what? If you do ever come across that mint on card set of the Nasties, you better get a picture with it and you
Oh,
know cherish that shit, man.
absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
But I didn't even bring up the actions, but Jerry Sags, he has the little, I don't even know what you
Yeah,
call
I love the action on both of them. They both look tough. They both look they're not. I don't remember what their finisher was, to be honest with you.
it.
Did
It's
they
like
have a team
escaping my
finisher?
head too, and that's bothering me.
They had a team finisher though, didn't they?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Fuck, man. I'll remember it after this fucking video is wrapped up too, and it's gonna
Oh
bug.
yeah, of course, of course.
But those are all of the 2-packs that we saw in the Hasbro line. I think it's pretty obvious, Chris, but what me and Lee are doing this. What is your favorite of the set, and what is your least favorite, or what you think they could have improved on?
Okay, that's easy. I don't like the least favorite, but what they could have improved on would be the rockers. The pants could have been a little bit more, like the Marty Jannetty Series 10. They really did that right. They made him
Right,
look great, and those were pants that he wore that they wore as the rockers. They could have done the yellow gear. They could have just done more with the pants. Like they took the time to do the boots. They could have taken a little bit more time. And if they had done that, I think that the Rockers would be maybe over here in front of the
right.
Bushwackers.
Like completely different
Um,
figures if they did that.
so yeah, of course they would. I mean, they'd be really, really, great looking. Maybe one of the better looking sets. Because I understand anybody who wants to argue that Demolition isn't great looking.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that I feel that way. I'm saying that if somebody told me they felt that way, I would not argue with them. So yeah, I think that they really could have done better with the Rockers. Again, iconic, absolutely. Like when I think Hasbro WWF figures and like the commercials and the ads for Toys R Us, I think of the Rockers, 100%. But they could have done better with those. Favorite, I guess today it's going to be the Nasty Boys. Tomorrow it might be LOD. but for today, let's give the W to Knobs and Sags.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I'm going least favorite on the Rockers. Definitely, they could have added a little bit more deco to the tights, and I think they just would have been up there after that if they had done that. And bro, it's a fucking toss up for me with LOD and the Nasties.
Yeah, as it should be. And there's no that's a fine answer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give the edge to LOD, but
There you go.
it is very fucking close, man.
No, I like that. I like that. We split. We're saying it's super close. I feel like we should split it right down the middle of
Right.
our choices. So that's perfect.
Like I've been thinking about it this whole episode, and I'm like, damn. Like each time I pick them up, it just makes me love it even more.
I mean that, and really, that's all we ever wanted was to have our match with LOD and Nasty Boys when we were kids. You know what I mean? And we never got the chance to do that, unfortunately. So, that's why, because those were the two best tag teams.
Right.
Now, I also think that they should have given us a Natural Disasters tag team set.
Oh, easily, definitely. I agree with you 100%.
And I think that if they did that and they put maybe the red, white, and black gear on Earthquake, it would have been a game changer. Like that would have been
definitely
been really cool.
That's another.
I know last time I was on, we were talking about Lee at the end of the show asked me what the hardest one, and I said I've been getting my ass kicked by an Earthquake. So I have a rule: if I lose 3 times, I can just quit if I want to. Mm-hmm. I quit on that Earthquake. That's never gonna happen. I'm not making it. Fuck that thing, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too. If they had done that Earthquake and matching gear with Typhoon, just fucking game changer, man.
Dude, it would have been a great box set. Are you kidding? Would have looked awesome.
Especially if you had done that blue Earthquake that we did get, and then like maybe a tugboat in the
I think that blue Earthquake, by the way, is in my top 5 or 10. It's definitely top 10.
Fantastic, absolutely.
It's such a great fucking figure, dude. It's so great. It's so great. That's why I wanted to make it custom, but I sucked at it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I've made plenty of nice ones.
Yeah, man.
Never talked about the ones that don't work out. This kind of feels nice.
Well, it's been fun talking to you, man.
Man, as always.
Yeah, this was, the tag team sets of the WWF Hasbro line. Me and Lee talk about it on the show a lot. I think tag team wrestling is, especially today, just so underappreciated,
I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy. I've never been a fan of my grandfather who got me into wrestling. Used to scream at me because that was the best wrestling there is. And, all right, Grandpa. I never liked it. But we had, when I was coming up, I had these guys as my tag team division, which I now truly do appreciate because, man, I had it good and I didn't like it. So, like, I should have appreciated more what I had going on when I was watching.
Yeah.
Legendary tag
absolutely team. Love the tag teams, man.
Yeah.
And you may as well call me Karen too, because I love to see the managers as well. But this has been the tag team sets for the WWF Hasbro line. Chris, it's been fucking awesome having you here, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Great insight, great stories. But yeah. To wrap it up, Chris, do you have anything you want to plug? Any social media, anything like that?
No social. If you want to check out the struggle on the customs, it's Q's Hasbro Customs on Instagram. Other than that, just once again, Lee, we love you, brother. Hope you're hanging in there. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee will be back with me next week. Love you, man. But make sure you check us out on our social media here on Perched on the Top Rope. You can find us on Facebook at Perched on the Top Rope. You can find us on Twitter at Perched Top Rope, because Perched on the Top Rope is too long. Fuck you, Twitter. You can find us on Instagram also at Perched Top Rope, because Perched on the Top Rope is too long. Fuck you, Instagram. But Twitch, you can find us at Perched on the Top Rope, where Alex Todd will be streaming, his wrestling games. And me and him have a project in the works to watch some old TNA shows. So be on the lookout for that.
Hey now.
And TikTok, you can catch us at Perched on the Top Rope, where you can see Selena scenes of all the greatest moments in professional wrestling history, such as Zack Ryder winning the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 32. And if you disagree, go fuck yourself. And make sure you check out the main show.
I guess you told them.
Make sure you check out the main show every Friday, as well as this show here, Perched on the Top Rope, where myself and Lee talk about our favorite wrestling figure lines. And for the next few months, we will be going over the WWF Hasbros, continuing next week with Series 2. And ladies and gentlemen, to close it all off, if it's not in a case, you don't have the chase. We're out.